Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me again today. I hope everyone is doing very well. And so, to begin with, today we are going to talk about religions in the continent of Africa as we narrow down to what we'll be focusing on. Now, the African continent was home to very powerful traditional religions before the foreigners who later became colonizers, or white men as mostly referred to, came to Africa. The people of Africa had a strong doctrine and adhered to religion very strongly. But before we go into what made the African traditional society's spirituality very different from other forms of beliefs and understand what the original religion or beliefs were, then we'll need to also understand that the African people have a unique culture or cultures. And each one of this culture had a different way of worship. Now, let us fast forward and see what is currently happening in the continent of Africa in terms of religions. And before we do that, there is a question we are going to ask ourselves. What are the current major religions in the continent of Africa? And I say major religions in the continent of Africa because there are so many religions in the continent of Africa and the world at large, as we all know. But we are going to focus on a few today as we narrow down to exactly the religion we want to be talking about. So, what are the major religions in the continent? Number one, Christianity. It has been approximated that over 550 million people in the continent of Africa are Christians. This group is made up of many denominations, which include Roman Catholics, Anglicans, Independents, Protestants, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Christian Science, and a few more little ones in that category or in that group. Number two, Islam. Islam has also been approximated to be about 420 million people in the continent of Africa, and most of them residing in the northern, western, and southern Africa. And in this group, the majority are Sunnis, even though the Shia population is also growing very fast. Number three, and this is the focus group. This is the group that we'll be looking at in detail in our next video. Number three, the traditional African religions or traditional beliefs and practices of African people. These traditions were mainly structured orally rather than scripturally. This group, I'm going to look at my notes a little bit here. Now, they believe in a higher God, a supreme creator, and also in spirits. Now, before we go into details of this group, I would like to mention that when I started, I said we're going to focus on the major ones. So there are a few more that I would like to mention before we talk a little bit about the group we want to talk about. Number four, Hinduism. The Hindus are approximately 3.5 million people in the continent of Africa. Number 5, Baha'i faith. Baha'i faith is approximated to be 2 million people. And we have many other smaller groups like atheists, Buddhists, Judaism, and many more. Now, we also need to understand that before what we now call civilization brought to Africa, the great people of the continent of Africa had structured leadership with kingdoms. They had chiefs and kings and even queens. And more so, and this is the part that we'll be focusing, and more so, they had structured ways of worship. Because we're going to look at the religion, so we'll be looking at how was worship structured. So, on our next video, I would like us to look at what and how did the African people worship. Because we understand that before Christianity, before Hinduism, before Islam, before all these other religions, there was the African traditions. How did they worship? How were they structured? That is what we're going to look at. So join me in the next video and let us learn together. Thank you.